So the persons who committed this act, mark my words, you will be found. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, you will either meet a judge or you will meet your maker. Cameras along the entire street of Waltham I am a piece of Waltham Park.
I want to take the opportunity on behalf of the wider JCF to offer our condolences to the victims of the five victims of this senseless murder that took place last night. 2 incidents that we believe are related. This is another one of a number of unprecedented number of multiple victims, violent incident that we've seen across the country in recent times. By way of update, I would like to just assure the public that we have been quite relentless. These types of incidents require a different and more strident response, and it has been receiving that type of response so far. Just to give a little update on where we are with those that have passed, and to assure the public at large that we will be assiduously pursuing these individuals who are responsible for these murders. Also, with respect to the Churchy Lane incident, for all the multiple victims incidents that we've seen so far, we have had very good results in terms of investigation. A number of persons have been arrested, a number of operations have been run, and we have managed to successfully cauterize the continuation of violence in these spaces. And so the Churchy Lane, we have 3 individuals that were linked to the gang, the associated gang, and this is a rival between the Azan faction and also the One Family gang. Where 3 persons linked to that gang were arrested. 2 of the perpetrators were charged and are awaiting trial, and the trial date is January of next year. We have 2 suspects who chose not to be taken in and were fatally shot during a confrontation with the forces. And we have 2 individuals who have been charged, not necessarily for the incident, but being part of the gang. Our operational response has been swift and serious. We have had 2 limited states of public emergency. We have intercepted a reprisal in progress during that incident where a firearm was seized and that person was arrested and charged. Several curfews were put in place, and I must say the division of St. Catherine North had lost some ground during that incident where we had 8 of our Jamaican citizens die and 9 were shot and injured. We have lost some grounds, but because of the support that we have gotten from the ministry in terms of the curfews and the government, the state of emergency, and the support by the JDF and our continuous presence in the space, we have the division has made good strides and is now experiencing a significant, even better reduction in murder than before the incident occurred. With respect to the Point Hill incident, where 7 persons were shot and 1 person killed, we have several individuals that have been cooperating with us. The investigation is going quite well. 2 persons were arrested and charged: Junior Coleman, OC CJ, and Javon Dyer. Both persons were charged for that incident, are in custody. We also have some key persons of interest that have been identified, and we are now looking for them. One such person is Kevin Miller, OC Pantyman. We have one Shane Thompson, Shannyman, and also Brian King, otherwise called Ryko. Right? And so these persons, anybody knowing the whereabouts of these persons, please make contact with the police as we seek to continue that investigation. And as I said before, we have been getting excellent support from the JDF with respect to these incidents, and thankfully we have not seen any continuation of violence in these. And there are several others. The recent one in Pleasant Hill, one person was arrested and charged. That's where the 5 persons were killed on the football field in Kingston East. One person was arrested and charged, and there are 2 persons that we are looking for. One, Junior Prairie, OC Whopper, where once we hold him, he can be properly charged, and also a person known to us only as Lord Evil. Both persons are wanted, and anyone knows the whereabouts of these individuals, we encourage you to provide support to the JCF. And this is just an update on a few of those incidents, and just to give the public the assurance that we will not relent when it comes to responding to these senseless hoodlums that seek to deprive our citizens of their lives and their freedom and their way of life. And we will be very, very strident in our response to this particular incident. I'm told that the victims are non-combatants. These are innocent citizens playing a game of domino, whichever one should be able to do. And we, the JCF, commits that our way of life will continue and will not be disrupted by these individuals.
First, let me join with both the Commissioner and the Minister in extending my deep and sincere condolences to the families and loved ones of those who were brutally killed in this multiple victim violent incident. We are very disturbed by this, but I invite Jamaica and the press who are here with us to recall that a few weeks ago we had a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister to discuss what we saw as an emerging trend in violence and in particular homicides in Jamaica. This is as a result, we theorize, from our very effective approach in neutralizing, eradicating, and in many respects disbanding gangs in Jamaica. We have moved from over 300 documented gangs to now just under 180, and we continue to degrade and eradicate them. So we take careful note of the change in the nature of homicides in Jamaica. And though it is not yet the majority of homicides, where the homicides are committed in what we are describing as multiple victim violent incidents, rather than the term mass murder, which we're seeing generally used, which connotes a different kind of activity. We are still very much concerned that it is a growing profile in the homicides that are being committed. These homicides, these murders are being committed essentially by gangs. Now, whilst the police have not definitively concluded in this specific instance that it is a gang-related matter, from what we are seeing so far, it is highly likely that it is a gang-related matter. The challenge, of course, is that the communities that are involved may not necessarily identify the players as being involved in a gang, because by and large, the community members would not be necessarily aware of the intricacies and details as to how these gangs operate. But one thing we can be certain of is that gangs have access to weapons. They acquire them, they stockpile them, and they distribute them. they exercise control over them, and they use them to exercise control over territory. They use them to conduct illegal activities such as extortion, trafficking, and other kinds of illegal activities. And ultimately, they use them to inflict harm, violence, and ultimately death in the pursuit of their gang activities. Whether it is reprisals, whether it is a robbery, whether it is extortion, whether it is protection, they use armed violence to exercise control and influence over geographical areas. And they use them ultimately to spread fear. One thing that would have come out of this is an incredible fear in the communities that adjoin this area. It is a natural response for 5 persons to die within less than 15 minutes of each incident occurring. And the nature of how it happened, this is a bar with an outdoor area for entertainment. Jamaicans all over, we gather, we sit around a domino table, we have fun. You know, this is how we socialize. And for someone or a group of persons to believe that it is, okay to just walk up onto the street side and shoot innocent persons. And from all intents and purposes so far, what the police have concluded is that none of these persons here were necessarily involved in any gang activity. It is inexplicable. It is dastardly, and it should never, ever be accepted or normalized in the society. And that is what we are grappling with, Commissioner, when we try to deal with gangs. So we have eroded many gangs, we have eradicated many of them, we have degraded many of them, but there is still a core that are being protected in communities, they live in communities, they have made themselves almost invisible to the community, but they are there. And it is important that the communities realize that at any time they can raise their ugly heads, they can rise the guns, as they call it, and commit these kinds of acts. And we have seen this over and over again in communities all around. Communities that have been peaceful for a long time, communities where there are no problems, communities where all the gang members are, the good guys, essentially. And then all of a sudden, you'll see that they have the capability to deploy violence. We have to deal with this, and we will deal with this. We will not relent in degrading, eradicating, and eliminating gangs and gang members. And I want to be absolutely clear on this. I've given a policy directive that these multiple victim violent incidents must be dealt with specially. We're going to make the necessary change in laws to deal with them. We consider them acts of terror, and we are examining the law to see what other penalties, what other deterrents can be placed in the law to prevent criminals and criminal-minded people in gangs to commit these kinds of acts. But in the interim, in the meantime, from an operational perspective, the police can mobilize resources to deal with the problem, as we have done in Cherry Tree Lane, in Warwicker Hills, in Point Hill, and in the other areas in which this has happened. So the persons who committed this act, mark my words, you will be found. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, you will either meet a judge or you will meet your maker. Anyone who commits these acts, the police will target you. We will focus on you. We will bring our investigative capabilities to bear, and we will find you, and you will get justice. I want to be very clear on that.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Is there any special reward for citizens who may give information?
Well,
Yeah, 30 million.
pool of funds and any information that can lead us to apprehend any of these gatherers. We will provide a reward.
Well, just to be clear, Minister, when the Cherry Tree Lane incident occurred, we had put up a $25 million reward fund. We have increased that reward fund to $30 million. That fund has been repurposed to deal with any of these incidents that occur, any of these multiple victim violent incidents that occur. Any resident, any citizen, anyone who has any information that is valuable to us in leading to the arrest or giving us information that would lead to the degrading of the gangs, that information would be obviously treated with the care to protect your identity and your security, but you can also benefit from a reward from this fund. So if you have information, let us know. Please tell us.